Cletus Cassidy has been touched by the evil symbiote god known as Null, and now he's carrying his proclamation across the land. All this and more in Web of Venom Cult of Carnage, issue number 1. Let's hop on in together and find out what happens next, shall we? Alrighty then, so as we join the comic, we check on in with Misty Knight, a character who, let's face it, should really be in more things than she actually is at the moment. Knight has been sent on a special mission by a mysterious organization that goes unnamed purposely for the rest of the issue, though I like to think it's the same group she was working for in the Sentry book. The mission is simple enough, or at least on the surface it is: extract agent John Jameson, son of J. Jonah Jameson, also known as the superhero Man-Wolf. Knight finds John, but he's all messed up. He's cold, naked, shaking, and pretty much looks like me after a bender. Now, if the name of the town Doverton sounds familiar, it's because it should. This was the town that was besieged and conquered by Carnage in the pages of Carnage USA, a miniseries from 2011. Only, get this, thanks to the strange and wonderful sliding time scale of Marvel comic book time, it's been only a couple months. Now, whether you knew it or not, John Jameson actually has a long and interesting history with Carnage. He was the head of Ravencroft Security, the mental asylum that was charged with trying to keep Cletus captive. They did a bad job. And during the criminally underrated Jerry Conway Carnage series, Man-Wolf was actually part of a secret governmental black ops team trying to bring him down. As we discover in flashbacks, John was invited to the creepy town by the local sheriff who needed assistance dealing with some rather strange crimes that have been happening all over the city. He wanted Spider-Man, but unfortunately he got the Man-Wolf. You see, the local graveyard has been dug up. What's the one common denominator amongst all the graves that were desecrated? Well, they all belong to people who were taken over by Carnage during Carnage USA. Stranger still, their spines have all been removed, almost as if they've been torn out, and it's not just the people's graves either that have been messed with, it's also the local zoo as well. Now, the sheriff has one suspect in mind for who could be behind all of this, and that is the Church of New Darkness, a religious order that moved into town just recently, and who, if you've been reading the Venom book, know that their symbol is totally the symbol of Null. John doesn't know any of this, but he rightly assumes any church that seems to be this evil is almost certainly up to something wrong, but they stonewall him at every turn, pleading religious freedom, just like friggin' Scientology. Next they're gonna make him do an e-reading. Now, in the present, when Misty Knight and John actually manage to find their way back to the church, it's completely boarded up. In fact, the entire town is seemingly empty. And in another flashback, we discover that after rattling the church's cage, John's friend the sheriff ended up disappearing, which of course caused him to want to break into the church and find out what's going on. Nothing on Earth could have quite prepared the Man-Wolf for what he saw on the inside, the fully assembled Cult of Carnage, which has only gotten bigger since last time we saw it. In fact, it's gotten some new members like the Spider-Man Doppelganger. A character that appeared in the original Infinity War, was a major player in the storyline Maximum Carnage, and who is now hooked back up with his master once again. Of course, now that the Man-Wolf has seen the plans of the Cult of Carnage, they can't allow him to leave, but Cletus does love the idea of converting a crazy Wolfman to his side, which means that this entire time Misty has actually been led around on one giant wild goose chase. What Carnage really wanted was to create a sleeper agent inside the very organization that seems to want to stop him, and now he has just that. And as the comic winds down, Misty takes John back to civilization, not knowing what she's actually doing. And so that was Web of Venom Cult of Carnage issue number 1, everybody, and this was just another really cool, really slick issue in the growing Venom mythos. Frank Terry has always been a really good, really workman-like comic book writer, and I'm glad to see him getting some work here. I like all the callbacks to the original Maximum Carnage, which is no doubt laying the groundwork for the next big Spider-Man event, Absolute Carnage. I like that this issue is a straight-up horror story from start to finish, with a great mood throughout, and yet more proof that these Web of Venom comics are absolutely 100% required reading if you want to know what's going on. Overall, I'd give this one an 8.5 out of 10. Really solid, really enjoyable stuff. Cannot wait for the next part of this series.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out some of these other videos I have available from the channel. Then you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cape Joel, so you're always up to speed on what I'm doing next. And hey, did you know, outside just making great weekly comic videos, I'm also on several comic book podcasts, some of which are very popular. There's the Weekly Pull, which the shirt I'm wearing right now. That one goes every other Tuesday. Then there's the Elseworlds Exchange over on the Comic Pop channel. That's every Wednesday around 3 to 5, give or take. And then how could I possibly forget the Comic Multiverse, the show hosted by myself and Matt of Fortress of Solitude. That one goes live on this channel every Wednesday at 8, and also SoundCloud and iTunes later on. Be sure to check out and subscribe to those if you haven't already. I assure you, you won't be mistaken.